I have very clear memories of a conversation with my mum, probably in my 20s or so, where she was saying that, I guess, sort of reflecting upon my childhood and my sister's childhood, and just by way of explanation, we were quite often what you might call street angels and home devils. So we were pretty good when we were out at school in public, and we fought a lot when we were at home. My sister and I are good friends now, but it was testy there at times. As we became friends, I think, more than brother and sister in our last few years of school, and particularly beyond that time, and as our friendship groups merged. And I remember Mum, looking back on all that, I was well and truly studying to be a priest by the time of this conversation, and she said to me that her kind of parenting kind of strategy was to really make sure that she prayed that we would know God, and she figured the rest would take care of itself. And I'm not quite sure if that, worked in every instance, but it actually did pretty well. She was, Mum had a trust, I think, that if we knew God, then the various other decisions that we would need to make in our lives would kind of fall out from there. And I think that's largely been true. I was reminded of that when I was thinking about the gospel today that we've heard, where Jesus actually seems like he's been a real pain in the neck. The rest of the family have left Jerusalem. It would have been a big kind of group that would have been leaving Jerusalem to go back to Nazareth. And so it's understandable that Mary and Joseph, they would have just thought, oh, he's part of the whole group, and he's at that age where he probably had enough kind of responsibility to be able to do that, to be with other family members, extended family members. And so it's only a little bit later that they realise he's gone, and they panic, understandably. They go back and they find him, it looks like he's really disobeyed them. He hasn't gone home, he's in Jerusalem. And more than that, he's in the temple and he's being really precocious. He's telling very wise and learned people about the law, about the teaching of God. It could look like he's been a pain. It could look like he's been disobedient to them. Except that when he's asked about that, when his mother says to him, look, what on earth's going on here? He says, well, look, I've got a higher responsibility here, and my higher responsibility is to do what God asks of me. So he's recognising that his true father is actually God. In a way, it kind of ties in with Mum's prayer, I think, that if we can put God's will first in our lives, then the various other decisions after that ought to fall into place. So for the kids who are watching on the live stream today, there's something really important about my mum's advice there about finding God. And maybe for the mums and the dads, grandmas and those who are carers, who are in that role of mother for many kids, to pray that your kids would know God, I think, is a powerful prayer. It doesn't solve everything. It doesn't absolve them from the challenges of life. It doesn't mean that they don't go through ups and downs and challenges and difficulties. But if that can be their measuring point, their lodestar, if it were, if it can be the point by which they measure the other decisions in their lives, then I think it sets them up very well for life in our world today. I think in a very special way today we want to pray for the really challenging kind of time and the way in which mums have had to respond to that, from teaching their kids at home as well as juggling work. However that's played out, whatever that's looked like, it's been challenging for everyone in one way or another. And so in a very special way we want to pay tribute to our mums and say thank you to God for them through this Mass. And as I said, all of those who are mothering in their relationship with others as well. I always think that on Mother's Day it's a special time to remember those who would love to have kids and haven't been able to. They may still and often still do act as mothers, as like something like mothers, whether it's in their role as an aunt or whether it's in their role as friend and carer to others. We want to pray for them in a special way in this Mass as well.